Hi folks, welcome to my day 9 video of my record video day challenge to get myself more comfortable being in front of the camera and getting familiar with the process of creating content. So today I thought I'd talk about life planning, building on what we covered yesterday, which is around goal setting. So before we begin, hi, my name is Dhanusha. I am an executive and transformational life coach. I work with business leaders and business owners who are ready to realign with purpose, lead with clarity, and grow sustainably. So when it comes to planning or planning for your life, a lot of the work that I do is helping people create a more intentional, more purposeful life. So I like to get people to start with a big picture, right? And sometimes people struggle with this depending on the stage of life that they're in. A good way to think about it, and this is what I do, is to split your life into decades. And just think about what each decade means to you in terms of what you would like to do by the time you've reached the end of your life. Generally speaking, you can think of your 20s as gaining experience and just experimenting to find what it is that you like. In your 30s, you might pick something and just focus on really getting good at it to leverage your skill or the value that you bring to earn money. In your 40s, for me, it became about finding meaning and thinking about what was next. And that actually started towards my late 30s. So my 40s is all about establishing something on my own, hence me running my own business and creating something sustainable that's reliant on me as opposed to someone else, working for someone else, that is. Then if you go into your 50s, for me, it's about doubling down and getting myself ready for retirement. Whatever idea that I'm exploring in my 40s, I've got that figured out. I've got it working and creating a sustainable income, and I'm going all out to try and effectively earn as much money as I can, doing that so that I have enough of a retirement fund to fall back on by the time I get to my 60s. 60s is getting into retirement. I will probably shift to focusing on family and then community. 70s is really going to be starting to enjoy my life and focusing probably more on family, especially as they grow. 80s, I'm probably just going to kick back, have a beer, and just watch the world go by and be happy doing so. Right. That's as far as I can look out. I'm in my mid 40s or approaching my mid 40s. So, but all of this can change as I grow older, get more experience, right? So it doesn't really matter what your current thinking is. What I say is important is to have some sort of chain of thought, right? And just start working towards something so that you give yourself some direction, and you're working with purpose and intent. So the next step then is, based on wherever you are in your life, the decade that you're in your life, form a big picture as to what you want your life to look like in that decade. If you can't, then make it a point to explore what options are available to you, right? Look for role models, look around for examples, get to know people, that are older than you to see what they're doing, to find some inspiration, right, to help you formulate your own thinking and your own ideas, so you can really start working towards something, as opposed to many of us, falling into the trap of working in high stress jobs or dealing with difficult relationships, and we end up just trying to run away from the things that are bugging us, as opposed to moving towards something that we really care about. Once you have a sense of that, think of breaking your life down into different categories. There's an exercise called the Wheel of Life that you can look up. You can do a Google search and look up. It effectively gives you basic sort of aspects or categories of life. It can be career, business, finance, relationships, health, family, spirituality, lifestyle. Think of what categories make sense to you. You don't have to aim for perfection in all of those categories. Just pick what's most important for you at this point in your life, right? It'll change year to year and as your life progresses. I would say pick 3 things. 1 to be your primary, so you put most of your effort into that. 2 to be your secondary areas, so that you don't have to put as much effort. You'll find try to focus on more than that will just be strenuous, and you won't, in fact, end up getting through as many of the things that you thought that you might in your head. Okay, so then for each of these three categories, think about where you are at the moment, as in where you are today, and where you'd like to go by the time you get to the end of your current decade. Once you've done that, if you have larger aspirations that go beyond the current decade, so you've already got clarity on that, then great, make that connection, right? Make it all line up and make it all make sense. So you're effectively evolving yourself, going from strength to strength with each year, with each decade. Once you have a visual of what you want your life to look like, do a bit of math to figure out how much time you have between now and the end of that decade. If you're, let's say you're 31 or 41, to get to the end, you've got another 9 years. If you're, say, 37 or 47, you've only got 3 more years till you get to the end of your decade. Use that to determine whether your goal is reasonable, whether your vision is achievable or attainable in that time frame, right? If not, then just simply adjust it, right? Because you've got to work with what's possible. Otherwise, you are. I mean, look, you can try to be overly ambitious, hoping that you will get somewhere, but you're really shooting in the dark here. So if you try to figure out, hey, what's really possible and attainable, you can then put in the effort to really double down and focus in on what it is that you can do to help yourself get there. So then the next step is then to take that time frame that you have and this end goal that you might have, and try to be as specific as you can with that end goal, and break it down into annual targets or smaller annual goals. Right. So if you're, for example, wanting to be a millionaire and you're let's just say you're 37 years old and you want to be a millionaire by the time you get to your 40s, it may be unlikely unless you're already most of the way there, right? So you might have to bring that down, and let's just say you need to make another 50,000 in the coming 3 years, right? Which then gives you something a little bit more reasonable that might seem a little bit more manageable for you to work towards. Okay. So then consider what your current habits are. What's your work style? Are you the sort of person that's super chill and you're comfortable taking your time getting to places, in which case you probably don't want any goals that are too aggressive? However, if you are an overachiever, then you probably will need aggressive goals because you're going to get bored otherwise and shift your focus into something else. So, establish your goals based on what your current work ethic is like. And then from here, you're basically going to just start doing a little bit of project management, right? Similar to what we discussed yesterday, it's all about goal setting. Figure out what your annual target is, and then figure out, well, what are the skills that I need to learn or to improve on in order to help me get to that target. That way you shift your focus from achieving some kind of end result to actual behaviors that you are in control of. You can then shift your focus into what you can do differently, better, in order to help you get those results, whether it's learning a new skill, practice being more effective at performing a particular skill, whatever the case might be. Shift your focus into learning and growth so you can improve your capability to help you work towards achieving that goal. Okay, and then the only other thing I suggest you do is then start looking at your habits. Right, as you set on this path, one, what habits are supporting you versus what may be sabotaging you? What may not be so constructive and gets in the way of you working on your behaviors, working on achieving your goals, right? And those are the things that you might need to do a little bit of work on to help overcome and maybe to change the things that are a little bit more more supportive and more constructive in your pursuit of your goals. Okay. Self-reflection is a good habit to get into either weekly. I would suggest weekly, or you can do it on a sort of monthly basis if you like. Just look at what you set out to do in that particular period, what results you had gotten, and just see what you have to adjust. It's not about beating yourself up. right? Or overly praising yourself. It's just about looking at your behaviors and your results, and then seeing what got in the way. If it's within your control, then okay, maybe there's something you can change. But if it's just life in general, then that tells you the general kind of rate of growth, if you like, and what you might need to adjust in order to help you get to where you want to get to without then feeling bad come your deadline or whatever time frame you've set yourself, in case you don't meet those targets, right? The worst thing we can do for ourselves is to beat ourselves up about things that sometimes are out of our control, right? And if you shift your focus into what you're doing, what results you're getting, and just adjusting your behaviors to help you get different results, and treat the results as experiments, right? There's no hard target. So you miss a target by a little bit 1 week, just try to see if you can go harder the next week to make up for it, right? It's not necessarily the results on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis. It's more that you are tracking and you're going in the right direction to then all balance out by the time you get to your quarter mark or 6 month mark or 12-month mark. Okay, I think that's enough. That's already 11 minutes. I'll leave it at that. If you have watched this far, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. And I shall see you in 2 days' time, because I will skip tomorrow's video given that it is Christmas. Oh, and before I go, have a Merry Christmas and enjoy the festivities.